Hey, what's up guys? So we're back with some more Katawa Shoujo, and I have not played this in a while actually, and I kind of wanted to get back into it. So, yeah, the mouse is on the screen again. I will be removing that next episode. I forgot I was gonna do it, but I forgot, and I'll do it on the next episode. When the final bell sounds, I realize that there is still a lot of time left in the day, and I'm left wondering what to do. It's odd. At the hospital I had 24 hours of free time, but here, filling the considerably shorter hours feels difficult. Everyone else leaves and I'm left alone with the teacher. Matuo. I don't know how to pronounce it, like a lot of people I get corrected all the time, I don't know. Matuo is examining the assignment sheets we were working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his papers briefly, he notices me and furrows his brow. What is it, Nakai? I jump at him, adjusting me, but I guess it's natural to spark some conversation since there is nobody else around. Nothing. Thinking about what I do after school. The teacher slowly puts the cap on the pen he is holding and arranges his papers into a stack, clacking it against the desk twice. He seems very methodical. For a brief moment, I'm reminded of Shizune, but the teacher is more unhurried and relaxed, much more routine. You have no plans? No, I consider joining a club, but don't know what kind of club would interest me. Go observe a meeting of someone else's club. Might pique your interest, I guess. But I don't know how to continue from there. Matuo looks at me in a way that makes me quickly want to take the words back to avoid a conversation, but I can't, so I go forward ahead. I just don't know how to deal with them, I mean, the other students. Talking to people and everything, so it's not that I'd be isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about the disabilities. It's like, it feels like I'm being impolite if I pay attention to them. It's weird to ignore them. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. The teacher scratches his cheeks absent-mindedly, looking very unresponsive. These things are only an issue if you make them one. You can't talk normally with someone even if they are blind or something. Try to look behind the superficial. There's not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they might seem at first glance. He says the same thing as Yuko did. I know they're right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness, when the only way to communicate with her is to talk through Misha? Or Hanako. It's like you can't ignore her face. But I'm interrupted by the door of the classroom suddenly slamming open. Teacher! Misha crashes in, hands straight in an enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively, enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts towards the teacher desk with her bouncing step, hands energetically swinging with the rhythm. Matuo, visibly dismayed at the interruption, and Misha, in general, slumps in his chair. Mikado! Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly as if she's sensing from Stone that something's wrong, but has no idea what. Yes? We have talked about your volume control before. Yes! But she doesn't lower her voice at all, the teacher just rubs his eyes. So what is it? We need help. We are running out of supplies for the festival stands. This is a distress. She waves a pink slip of paper she's holding around. So, go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that? Plywood. Plywood is always a problem. Last time we wanted more, there was only a little. By the time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's like none left there, so do you know where there is more? I don't understand. How would I know? Shichan, I mean the president, thought that a teacher would know if there is plywood. Was she wrong? Matuo looks like he's in great pain, frowning with his entire essence, and Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible, looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open with blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. I'm afraid I have no idea if there's any plywood in the school, let alone where it would be if there was any. What should I do? Matuo definitely... He doesn't look happy, in general, like, just his face hasn't really changed, but he just doesn't look happy. Perhaps try to find Mr. Namiya. I'm quite sure he would know where to find everything you need. You'd have to pry them from his cold, dead hands, but that's a different matter. I don't have time, we are so busy! She holds her head with both of her hands, looking as despairing as it is possible for a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumples the note she's holding against her hair. I shouldn't even be fetching these things. There's so much to do and we are falling behind the schedule. Uedao looks at her gravely and then suddenly smiles. Smiling doesn't really fit his face. I think it'd better if he didn't. I wonder if you could get some temporary help. I think he's talking about us. He switches to staring at me focusedly, with a hard expression as if trying to say, go make some friends. I guess I can give you a hand. You can? Thanks, Achan. You are really nice. She pauses, does a double take, and then points at me with her finger, yelping, ah! And looked very puzzled. Come to think of it, what's Achan doing here? Class is over, you should be having fun. We just had a little chat. Oh no, it's not the henshin, is it? Are you in trouble, Achan? No, I'm not. Is Achan in trouble, teacher? No, he's not. Tao sighs deeply and feel that I have to help Misha to get her off the teacher's back. Get out of here, Skype. So what do you need? Here's a list. I can try to find the plywood from somewhere if there's none in the art room. Shuffles me the note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit. I said it'd help you, but this has no implications of whether I'm joining the council or not. Aww. Still thanks, Achan. Try to be quick. We're in stall building street now. We must hurry, hurry, hurry! And then she slides up the door. She bounces out of the classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a silent agreement. Well, there you have it, Nakai. You have something to do now. Please don't sound so smug. Looking at a list with a number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written with small, neat handwriting that is undoubtedly Shizune's. I heave a sigh. I'll be going now, then. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit the hallway. The classroom's closest to ours, designated belonging to classrooms 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side, and 3-4 on the left side. Each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, are rooms that I didn't think were used for classrooms. I guess that art room is not a classroom as such. I carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. Huh. I guess that's an art room. It kind of looks like... this looks like identical to the art room in high school. It's kind of weird. It's got like those tables and that table and those... Even like the same... Nearly has the same chairs. That's spooky. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room. A thin layer of dust settled on them. There's some easels in the corner, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight from the big window, shadows creeping all over the desks. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call it the empty room. Somebody catches my eye and I stop mid-sentence. Whoa! I did not see that coming, but okay. Sitting on a desk and a short-haired girl curiously wearing a boy's uniform, with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. This odd way of dining seems to be cause of her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me back even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in the corner very still, but I still somehow took her as part of the furnishing, or the statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think if I should. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned in the silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Hello? The girl stuffs the fork full in her mouth and now is staring at me, expectantly, while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello, I was told to pick up some supplies from here for some festival stalls, and I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't, that's why I came here too. She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that make you here then? She raises her eyebrows as if she was expecting my observation was false. You're pretty observant, I guess it does, but who are you? The girl's pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai. Sao Nakai. I think it's Hiseo Nakai, I don't know. I just transferred into Anon one day. I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. That's very nice. Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. It kind of bothers me. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. Well, I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether the girl is. She seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for the day. What word would you use then? There's no word for a meal you eat after lunch but before dinner, right? It bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what this should say. Wait, isn't that supper? Lunch, in between lunch and dinner? Wouldn't that... I'm pretty sure it's... Well, this is Japan, so I guess, that, you know, they have different things. I don't know. I don't think you're supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with. But I'm hungry now, and my delicious box lunch would be go to waste otherwise. I have curry. It's very delicious. With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points the tray at me. So Nakai, what brings you to this place? Like I said, I was told to look for these things. No, the school. From outside, you look fine. Is your problem inside? I came to a full stop, opening my mouth but not getting a word out. I can guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people. Rin cuts me off before I can answer her question. Or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of this issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. I do get the feeling that that's not making issues of this as part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Shizune's circumstances, or Lily's either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be, with an overly contemplative look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your gut would be boringly ordinary. Like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem must be in your pants. What? Oh. Okay then. My pants. I got pants issues, okay. Let's see where this goes. This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and the sheer lack of tact is what delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widened in revelation and astonishment. So I was right, there's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? Still partially in shock, but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing I can think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem. Arrhythmia. I said it more like blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous. This girl is weird. What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down. I forgive you. Just, I collect people and a person with you, you know, that kind of problem would have been really great. Collect people? People with different problems. So you just, like, go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. Well, what's wrong with you? With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch and the conversation dies away. I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone else about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else. Or didn't know about it, like every other student here so far. Should I have told it as a natural part of introductions, as expected of me? Hi, I'm Isao. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities define us. What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl just has an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items in Misha's list, a chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is burnt auburn. I don't know. Is that auburn? I don't know. Almost orange and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms makes her look very thin, almost scrawny. Wait, what does that mean? Long hair would have been impossible with no arms. I don't get it, but I don't know. She's not particularly pretty except for her murky green eyes, which flicker relentlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadows make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabins and cabins? I heard this game, at least in the English version, has lots of typos, or at least some typos, I guess it's one. Cabins and shelves for Misha's things. But after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of the strange girl. So, do you always eat alone and this late, or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors? Maybe you are my first actual occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof, if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She's probably talking about Misha. She likes to do sport. Oh wait, no, it's that girl. Okay. That's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bit of her meal to her mouth. I look down at my haul and double-check it with Misha's list. It seems like I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. Wait, she sleeps in here? Wait, does she even have a place to live? You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping. Eh. I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship is at this point good enough to warrant this much. Wow, okay. It's like social link established. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine then, I'm Hisao. Then you are. Rin looks at me hard in her eyes, but the intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times. I can't figure out why a pause like this should just pop between us out of nowhere. See you later, Zo. There's something like a tiny smile there in her face, maybe. I quietly back out of the room as I shut the door in front of my face. I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I hear that. Oh! What did she hear? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow, she had gotten to jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. I forgot all about Kenji. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof as she could have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No, wait, more importantly, who is in there? There's no club meeting today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the doors prevent her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check. What's wrong? That's no good, Ishan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you are tardy. Oh, sorry, I got the things here. Was just going to bring them. I think you grew up to some mischief, Ishan. Who was in there with you? Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door in the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she's experiencing. But Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders. From suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths and adjusts her glasses and slams the door shut, turning the sign furiously at Misha. Uh-oh, this isn't good. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Uh-oh, that's not good, actually. Hello! Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door and takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interesting, half-sleepy face. Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you're doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such disgraceful activity. Sure, it's suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune and Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, pointing at Rin and making some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyhow, is it your project going? Well, wait. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. And? Well, we'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Ah, that frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'd be a disaster if that wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating students' council duo. How rude. It's true though, I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap, the unforeseen future. Too unforeseen future, okay. I'm about to ask what projects she has and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? Oh, I get it. Pun intended. This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks slightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally picked it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure, where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off down the hall, me and the paint can following since there's a little... Fuck you, Skype, go away. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Misha gone, so we too leave towards... Why did that come into my head? Towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arm from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I had trouble matching, or maybe I am walking weird because I have the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me because obviously it's me who has some business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medication. Since you haven't been that long on your current medication, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing another kind of medication. So we will do a few tests regularly, but what I'd want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. And come see me if something happens. Alright. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too, the teachers, students here, my parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student space and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. This is not the kind of school that gets transferred students too often. Thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you haven't taken up exercising, as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such, I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times, like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arm painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back like it was never gone. Kazuko, would you give us a second? Oh, this can't be good. He doesn't like my smart-assedness. The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Ren's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and dragged me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you're still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me that I'll be more serious about this from now on? Ooh, we should probably say yes, because if we don't, he's just gonna be like, ah, no. What dire consequences could unfold by this decision, though? Let's think about everything. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Yes! Yeah, I promise. Definitely. He studies me for a moment, then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to that school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who apparently probably has no qualms, offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. What I'm guessing, because after talking to many people who have played this game, because a lot of my friends have played this game and beaten it, basically you beat the game, I'm guessing, by end up dating someone, and each thing you make changes who you might end up dating. So I'm guessing since we said yes to that, because if we divulge ourselves and taking in activities, because each person has their own activity, as we kind of seen. So if we divulge ourselves in that activity, we'll probably have a higher chance of dating that person and ending the game. So the only person I can kind of think of that he's talking about is probably that girl with no legs. So see you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer. I walk to Ren, who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off of them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I didn't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. And, you know, this is pretty crazy. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality, talking about that kind of stuff, kind of thing in public. That's not Ren's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Ren is just staring past my shoulder, quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. I don't know what this is, why this is so hard for me. Feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're from my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer, then she neither says anything further, nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Ren leads us onward towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch in greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on the slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design at the school. The entire wall, made up of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it's still more sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. Actually, I'm gonna end this episode here, so thanks for watching. This is getting pretty heavily heated, as we can see, but I guess we will save the game, obviously, first. And I will see you next time.